Hey everybody, welcome to Board Game Heaven. My name is Raymond, and in this video I'm going to talk about Hitster by Jumbo, which is a party game about music, of course, for 2 to 10 players, which plays in about half an hour for ages 16 and up. And in this game, you're going to be guessing the year in which a song was released using an app that uses Spotify to play the songs. Now, before I explain how to play the game and share my thoughts, I'd like to direct you towards my Patreon page, because if you would like to support what I do, you can do so for as little as just €1 per month, which is greatly appreciated. And in return, you'll get early access to my YouTube videos. There are also some Patreon exclusive posts that I made, and you will get your name in the credits of all of my videos. And that is, of course, very much appreciated. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. That also really helps the channel and is, of course, absolutely free. All right, let's get started with Hitster. Okay, to set up a game of Hitster, simply take the cards from the box or leave them in the box and draw from the box. First play, of course, you don't need to shuffle them if you've played it before. Give them a shuffle and put the stack within easy reach of all the players. Then you give each team or each player, depending on how you divide your teams, you can divide the players up in 2 teams or maybe multiple teams. I would recommend 2, or if you're with a small number of players, every player could play for themselves. In any case, you give each player or each team 1 card from the stack that you simply turn around right away, and that is your starting year. So every player has 1 year already in front of them, and every player or team gets 2 Hitster tokens that they can use during the game. That's the entire setup. Also, make sure you have installed the Let's Play app on your phone and that you have Spotify installed as well. You don't need a premium account, but it does make it easier because you won't have any ads. And then you're ready to start playing. Now, during this game, you will be drawing cards, scanning the QR code, and then you will hear a song that starts playing. And all you need to do, or your team needs to do, is to put that card in the right spot in the timeline. So in this case, either before or after 1981. And the goal is to guess that correctly, and then the card will be flipped over, stays on your timeline, and when you have 10 cards on your timeline, your team or you win the game. So to do that, the team that's up takes the top card from the stack. You just place that in front of you, and you take the app. So once you have the Hitster app installed, you can also click read the rules right here, and that will take you to a web page which has all the rules. The rules are not printed in the game box. It's only available online. The rules are very simple, and I will explain them. So when you're ready, you can start the game, and this will get you this scanning window. You hover that over the card that you want to scan, and then it should open Spotify and play the game without showing you what I'm seeing right here. Now, for some reason on my Android phone, it opens a web page with Spotify instead of the app, and it just shows me the song, and it doesn't start playing. I can hit the play button and listen to it, but then I already know what it is. So it must be an error on my end. I don't know why this happens, but when we played on a friend's phone who did have a premium Spotify account, it would only play the music, and you would have to guess what it was and in which year. Even if I press the open the app button, which I have installed, I get the whole page. I get to see what it is, and I have to press pause to pause the song. But normally you would get just the song, and you wouldn't see it on your screen. Now, I don't know what happened there on my phone. I cannot get it to work for the life of me, and there is no way, there are no settings in the Hitster app that allow me to tell it that it needs to open the Spotify app instead of that web page. So that's something I feel needs to be improved. Could be me. If anyone knows how to fix it, please let me know in the comments. But anyway, you scan the card. The song starts playing on your mobile device, and then you and possibly your team will discuss where the song needs to sit. So we recognized the song from Roxette, but we don't know exactly which year, but I'm guessing it's going to be after 1981. It's an 80s song, I think, so we're going to put it to the right of the year that we already have. Now, if you don't know the song, there's 3 ways to use these tokens. And the first is to pay a token, just put it back in the box, and remove the card. If you're incredibly unsure where to put it, you just remove the card and you draw a new one. But we're not going to do that right now. So then after you and your team have decided to put it over there, the other team or teams or players will have a chance to use their tokens as well if they think that you are wrong. So if you've recognized the song, they hear the same song, of course, and maybe they think, no, that's a song from 1980, for example, and you've put it to the right, so in the future, they could say, look, we have 2 tokens as well. We're going to put it here in your timeline. And then other teams, if there's more than 2, could also do that. And then in this case, there's just the 1 year, so there's not other spaces where you can put it. And you can't have 2 tokens in the same space. So right now, this is all the options we have. Then you would flip over the card and look at it. And here it is. It's Roxette with the look, which is from 1989. So that is correct. That means that this team will keep the card. If the other team use a token, they lose that token because they were wrong. And then the turn goes to the next team and they do the same. So that team will also scan the next card on the stack. They will listen to it on Spotify. Again, I just get the page. So here it is, Rick Ashley, Never Gonna Give You Up. And they will have to guess as well. So they have their own card, their starting card. So let's say they had this card as their starting card. Let's put mine down here and the other team up here. So that was 1997. And they hear Rick Ashley and they're thinking, well, that was before that, so let's put it here. Again, I could use my tokens to say, well, maybe it's later, but I don't think so. I'm going to keep my tokens. They flip over their card, see if that's correct, and they are correct. So it's gonna stay there on their timeline. That's my turn again. Scan the card. I look at it, and this time Meatloaf should start playing with Paradise by the Dashboard Light. And I again have to decide where on my timeline I think that should go. Is that a song before 1981 or after 81 or perhaps even after 89? Now I know it's a pretty old song. So my team might be, in doubt whether to put it here or here. So again, should my team place it here, then the other team, they can say Hitster or whatever you want, and take one of their tokens and put it in what they think is the correct spot on the timeline. Another team could even place it here because there's now basically 3 places where we could put a token. And then once you're done, when you have placed the card on the spot you want, that's where it is, and you have to turn it around. You can't change it afterwards, especially not when somebody has already put a token down. And there it is, it's 1978. So our team was wrong, but this team was correct. So now that card goes to that team and the token is put back into the box. A third thing you can do with your tokens is whenever you have 3 tokens, you could spend all 3, just return them to the stack, and just take the top card without guessing, flip it over and put it in the correct spot of your timeline. So how exactly do you earn tokens? On your turn, you can earn a Hitster token if you can correctly name the song's title and the artist's name. You can even earn a token when misplacing that card on your timeline, and no player can hold more than 5 tokens at any time during the game. So play continues back and forth between the players or the teams until one team has 10 cards on their timeline, and that team or player is proclaimed the Hitster and wins the game. And that is the regular mode of the game. You can also play the Pro mode, and in the Pro version of the game, you must be able to name the artist and the song's title in addition to placing the card in the correct spot on the timeline. And in this variant of the game, instead of 2 tokens at the start of the game, you get 5 tokens, but you can't gain any new tokens. You can use your tokens just like in the original rules, so you can spend a token to get rid of a card that you really don't know and just get the next one. You can spend 3 to get one for free and just place it, flip it over and place it in the correct spot. Or you can use 1 to place it in the opponent's timeline if you think they guessed their card correctly before it's flipped over. But in that last case, you do also need to be able to name the name and the artist of the song. And when you do, you get to keep your token as well as steal the card from the opponent. There's also an expert mode, which also follows the original game rules, but in this variant, you need to be able to name the title, the artist, and the exact year in which the song was released. So basically, you have to always be correct on all counts and place it in the correct spot. Also be able to name the actual year before you flip it over. The rest stays the same. You get 5 tokens, just like the Pro edition. The rest stays the same, but you get 3 tokens instead of 5 from the Pro edition. In Expert, you only need 3. And the same rules apply for using those tokens as the Pro game edition. Finally, there's also a cooperative version of the game in which the players get 5 tokens. And you can also choose to play regular, Pro, or Expert mode. And you basically just make your timeline, and every time you guess wrong, you lose a token. So you just need to fill your timeline with 10 cards before you run out of tokens. You could also make each variant more challenging by taking less tokens than the rules say if you want, but those are all the different rules and how to play Hitster. Let's go to my final thoughts. So my final thoughts on Hitster by Jumbo. Well, let me start with the components. So the box is pretty sturdy, nice box, has a insert that holds all the cards and the tokens in the middle, and that works well. The box is not too big, not much bigger than it needs to be, so that's good. Has a nice design. I like that it has the speaker box on the cover, showing you that this is clearly a song about music. I like the neon letter font of the Hitster title as well. The cards themselves are fine. They are of a reasonable thickness. They are, clear. The QR codes work well. And the only thing I would have done differently is the corners, because these are pointy edges, and rounded corners I feel would have been better. Because you do have to shuffle these cards after a while, and you will probably start seeing some wear and tear along the edges. Although my set has been played quite a bit and isn't showing any really big marks yet. So components are good. Artwork, there isn't much artwork in this, of course. You have the Hitster tokens with the Hitster logo on it, which looks nice, and it has like the spinning record kind of colors on the back with the QR code. And otherwise, they're just the dates, the years in which the songs were released with the artist or the band and the title on them. That's it. They have a nice color, but that's it. And I don't even know if the colors mean anything. They seem to be random. It's not like a certain era has a certain color, or maybe a musical genre, because there's nothing like that on the cards about genre. So I think it's just random. It's very basic, but it works. It doesn't distract from the game, and has the years in very clear, big numbers on it as well, so that works well. Otherwise, not really any art here. As well as theme, there's no theme in the game. It's not like you're all playing DJs trying to make the best playlist or anything. No, this is just a music guessing game where you have to put them in the right spot on the timeline, basically. So the gameplay then, I love party games, and I love music, and I like guessing which song there is. When there's, you know, like a song on the radio, some kind of a contest or anything going on, and they play like the first 2 seconds of a song where you have to guess who it is and what the song's called. I love that kind of stuff. And you can do that with this. You don't need to. You basically only need to know in which year a song was released, or roughly, so you can put it in the right spot. But we like to, you know, up the ante and also guess the artist or the band and the name of the song. Because if you do, you do get an extra token, which you can later use to your benefit. So that's pretty cool. And I had a lot of fun with this. I would suggest splitting your party, the people who play, always into 2 groups. If you make like 3 groups of people, 3 teams, it might take a little bit too long. 2 groups works very well, and you can also kind of split up your friends to be kind of like on the same level of musical knowledge, so that each team is equally strong, so to speak. Because obviously some people will have a lot more knowledge about a certain era of music than others, and age is of course also a factor. So try to, you know, balance the teams, and that, in my opinion, works best. The rule about getting a free card when you have 3 tokens, we kind of just let that out of the game. We didn't like that so much because, you know, with a couple of people who know a lot about music, you guess the artists and the titles pretty quickly, so you'll get a bunch of tokens, and you can have a maximum of 5, I believe. So you'll have 3, and you could spend those to get a free card, but that's just not fun, in my opinion, if the game's going well for you. So we just use them to try and guess at the opponent's timeline. So when they guess where a song is gonna be in the timeline, and they're like kind of not sure if it's before or after a year, and they pick one of the 2, we always would, you know, place our token on the other end of that year, just to see if they were right or not. And if they were wrong, then we would probably end up with the card, and that just ups the stakes, and that's a lot of fun. That adds a little bit to the tension. So gameplay in general was a lot of fun, and the replayability is okay. There are, I believe, let's see, 308 cards in here. Yes, exactly. So yeah, and you play about, you know, almost 20 cards, because you need to go up to 10 cards before you win. And if, you know, the teams are balanced, one team or both teams will have 9 cards at some point, and then it's the last card that wins. So you'll play 19 cards maximum per game. So that means if you're, you know, playing this a lot, you can basically play 16-ish games without encountering the same songs again before you know, go through this entire stack of cards. And after you've done that, you can just shuffle them all together and give them a good shuffle and start again. And you will have songs that you've already seen in the past playing this game, but, you know, they will be mixed up, and you'll have a different timeline, of course, but it will get easier because at some point you'll start to remember songs and remember the years they came out, which in itself isn't bad. But if you're the one, you know, who owns the game and who always plays it, and you play with different people all the time, at some point you'll get an edge, because, you know, you'll know all the cards. So I would say replayability is fine, is good. I mean, before you play 16 games, that's quite a lot, actually. And but this game does want to you kind of want to play it again and again. You know, one game isn't enough, right? This is the kind of game you want to play 2, 3, 4 times in a row, because it's so much fun. And you can also just play a game where you make your own rules. So you basically just pick a card, you scan it, you hear the song, and the first person to slap their hand on the card and call the artist and the title wins the card, and you can play like that as well. There's a bunch of house rules you can make up to play this game with. In fact, this game came out first as a print and play that you could play with Spotify, and then Jumbo picked it up and made this. So, you know, there's a whole bunch of things you can do with this, and it is, in my opinion, a lot of fun to mess around with that as well. But yeah, replayability is limited to the number of cards, of course, and I do hope that Jumbo will release additional sets with more cards, new songs, that you can just mix in, perhaps even sets that have a specific type of music. Like, you know, there's a jazz pack or a R&B pack or hip hop or rock or metal, you know, and you can just mix them in and have fun with those, or play them separately if you're, you know, a fan of the genre. So I do hope that they will come out with new sets. It is available in multiple languages because the game isn't really language dependent. There is zero language dependency. You just have the song and the year. But there are several editions. The Dutch edition that I have also has Dutch artists and songs mixed in. There's a German edition, which of course has German songs, a French edition with French songs. There's an international English edition. There's a Spanish edition. So it would kind of be fun to also be able to pick up like language packs, because I did listen to a lot of German and French music, you know, when I grew up as well. So having like a German pack of cards, that would be fun to mix in as well without having to buy the entire German set, because there will probably be similar songs in there as well. It's about, I don't know, 20% country-specific songs and 80% international. So that would be a nice suggestion as well. But otherwise, it is fully language independent. So on all fronts, this game does get a thumbs up. I just hope there will be expansions because I like it so much. So that was Hitster. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'd like to thank Jumbo for donating this game to review at Spiel 2022. Very much appreciate it. I am enjoying it a great deal. And also don't forget to check out my Patreon page if you'd like to support what I do by clicking the link in the description below or the icon at the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Board Game Heaven.